I crashed my drone. I highly recommend this drone. Yes, this drone is in a completely broken state, but this is after crashing the drone 3 times, and this drone is just incredibly hardy and incredibly easy to fly for beginners. And the reason why this drone is so completely broken is completely my fault. I have nothing but praise for the Simtoo Dragonfly Pro, which I did crash 3 times. It's completely beginner friendly. It has a gimbal and an action camera for you to take video. It's very easy to get ready to fly, and it's very easy to control as well. And I mean, the reason why this drone crashed 3 times is because I was being dumb. The drone is incredibly easy to put together, even without the manual. I didn't look at the manual once, and I was able to put the drone together and get it flying without even looking at the manual. I mean, you pretty much gotta screw the propellers on, you gotta put on the landing gear and snap in the battery, and you're pretty much ready to fly. And the included controller is actually really easy to use as well. You have the 2 thumbsticks, one to control up and down as well as rotating the drone, and one to kind of fly the drone left to right, forward and backward as well. You have the auto takeoff, auto land, and then the hover mode, and you have the controllers for the gimbals over here and a mount for your cell phone. And you got the screen here telling you the height and the distance away from the drone that it is currently. So getting the drone to fly is really easy. All you got to do is turn on the drone itself, and then you will hear 3 beeps that'll signify that the drone is ready to fly. And if you're using the gimbal as well, this gimbal will also beep 3 times to signify that the gimbal is ready to be used as well. And you turn on your controller and connect the controller to the drone, and it'll show that the controller is connected. And make sure you have around 8 to 9 satellites before you take off, and then you just take off. You can use the really easy auto takeoff, auto landing functions as well. And controlling the drone is actually really easy. It's really straightforward, and if you've played pretty much any kind of video game, this should be really familiar to you. And even for someone like me who hates using controllers and joysticks, this is incredibly easy to use. And one of the great features about this drone is that you have lights underneath each of the props. And you got 2 lights in the front, 2 lights at the back. You have red on the front and blue at the back, which makes it really easy to orient the drone to figure out what way to press your thumbstick in order to move in the correct way you want. Because red is always forward and blue is always backward, or the other way around. I'm not actually quite sure, but either way, it actually helps you very well to orientate your drone when you're trying to control it with a controller. And once you take your fingers off the controller, the drone will actually hover by itself. I found that height-wise, the drone didn't really vary that much, maybe by like a foot or so. Sideways, the drone did vary a little. It varied between 2 to 3 feet, kind of sliding side to side. So I don't really recommend you fly this in an enclosed space like a house, which I did try, and I was too chicken to get it off the ground. There are also other tried and true functions that I unfortunately don't have footage for because it was either too dark or the camera wasn't on when I was trying out these functions. There's auto rotate, which you hold down the takeoff button, the drone will rotate around you in about a 5-meter radius. And there's also auto return and point of interest as well. But one of the biggest downsides to this drone is the lack of object avoidance sensors. So if you made your drone fly, your drone really wouldn't automatically avoid or stop if there was a tree in the way. So you really do have to be on your toes when you're flying this drone. In terms of battery life, I was able to get around 18 minutes of flying time, which is a fair bit less than what Simtoo claimed, which was around 25 minutes. But nevertheless, 18 minutes is still a respectable time for a drone this size. I have pretty mixed feelings about the included camera and the gimbal, which the gimbal is now completely busted, but the camera still works. The gimbal does work pretty well to eliminate any jello or shake when the drone is flying, but the footage is slightly less than rock solid when you compare it to the DJI Phantom 4. The camera is capable of taking 4K video at 25 frames per second. The quality of the camera is not that great. It's nothing compared to GoPros or even Xiaomi action cameras either, but it's still good enough to use in certain situations. You can connect to the included action camera through the Simtoo app, and you can have a half-a-second delayed live feed of what the drone is seeing through your camera. This is not effective for flying the drone using the included live feed, but it is good for framing shots, which I did use when I was, trying to take cool video. So to be more exact, I crashed my drone actually 3 times. The first time I actually crashed my drone in my backyard. It flew into a tree, and then I panicked and I tried to hit the land button, and then the drone actually caught the branches and crashed into the ground. The blades dug into the ground and it stopped, but there was no damage to the drone. So the second time I crashed my drone, I was actually in Mississauga in a park, and I was trying to fly my drone, and a huge gust of wind came and took my drone and blew it sideways, which kind of caused the drone to fall off and hit a tree, get clipped by a tree, and then it crashed into the ground beside the dumpster. Thankfully, it was soft ground because it dropped from a height of like 50 meters. And the third time I crashed my drone is actually today. I actually took the broken drone that I just crashed from the park, and I tried fixing it and flying it in my backyard. Guess what? It actually worked. I fixed the drone. It still can fly. The gimbal's completely busted, obviously, but the drone itself still flies. And it was super windy, and you know what? I didn't really care because my drone's already busted. And I was actually getting pretty good at flying it. I could fly it kind of around and not get crashed into anything. And then I flew it a little bit higher, and then a huge gust of wind took it and slammed it into the side of my house. It actually still works, but I can't find the prop, so I can't actually land it anywhere without it getting damaged. So to be more specific, I crashed the drone 3 times, but I still highly recommend this drone to all of you guys. It's super fun and super easy to use. Each time I crashed the drone, it was my fault. The first time was incompetence, the second time was incompetence, and the third time was incompetence. In fact, I have nothing but praise for the Simtoo Dragonfly Pro. It is an absolute pleasure to use. So honestly, I absolutely love this drone, and flying it was incredibly fun. Yes, it's almost completely dead because I don't have landing gear, so I can't really land it anywhere, but the drone itself still works. And if you're looking for a beginner drone, this is about 450 bucks, and you get the included camera and the gimbal and the controller as well. And it's incredibly easy to set up and fly. Just make sure that you're not stupid like me and fly it in super high winds, because that's how you get your drone crashed into the ground 3 times. So let me know how stupid I am. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.